The Department of Justice Special Counsel, that guy right there, actually, I thought it was a picture of David Weiss. That's Hunter Biden. David Weiss, says the motion to dismiss Hunter Biden's indictment should be denied.
Madeleine Rivera is in Washington. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Well, Hunter Biden's legal team wants automatic dismissal of the gun and tax cases, and that's what Special Counsel David Weiss is taking issue with. He does not deny that Hunter received a pardon, but he does say that a pardon does not absolve Hunter of guilt. Weiss says the president's pardon does not mean the grand jury's decision to charge him based on a finding of probable cause should be wiped away as if it never occurred. He goes on to say there was none and never has been any evidence of vindictive or selective prosecution, directly contradicting the president's characterization of Hunter's indictments.
No, read the president's statement. Seriously, read the president's statement. He said he believes in the Department of Justice. He does. He also believes that raw politics infected the process and it led to a miscarriage of justice. He believes his son was unfairly targeted. He said that what his political opponents have done to my son, that's his words, is cruel and enough is enough.
In response, Hunter's lawyer, Abby Lowell, says the special counsel acknowledges that the majority of courts, when faced with such a decision, have chosen to dismiss an indictment. The special counsel's admission that this is the practice of the majority of courts certainly provides legal support to Mr. Biden's claim that dismissal is warranted. Lowell argues a dismissal doesn't wipe away the indictment like it never happened. It just means that the indictment has been resolved. Lauren, Steve Ainsley, and Brian.
All right, Maddie, thank you very much. Meanwhile, yesterday we spent most of our 3 hours talking about this. Yesterday, Joe Manchin popped up over on CNN, and he said, well, given the fact that Joe Biden said, I'm never, ever, ever going to pardon my son, and then did, Mr. Manchin had this observation.
What I would have done differently, my recommendation as a counsel would have been, why don't you go ahead and pardon Donald Trump for all his charges and make it, it had gone down a lot more balanced, if you will. I'm just saying, wipe them out.
No, Joe Biden would have.
Well, he interviewed Jonathan Turley, and Jonathan brought up a good point. He said he really doesn't need the pardon because some of the cases have already been dropped. Sentencing has been pushed back.
Yeah, the federal case is dropped.
Exactly. Yeah. So he might not even need the difference is he was saying basically is that Hunter Biden definitely did these crimes.
He confessed to some of them.
Yes, and it's been proven. Many people think that Donald Trump was targeted by the Democrats and by a liberal Justice Department.
I mean, he talks about taking a gun, buying a gun, taking the gun, having his Beau's wife, Haley, I think it's Haley, seeing the gun, getting worried and throwing it in a dumpster. So, I mean, the whole thing is there. So to write a book and do a book tour and not acknowledge the laptop, it just shows you how impervious this guy thought he was. And he probably felt the same way going through the trial. It doesn't matter. My dad is going to pardon me. As Elon Musk tweeted out, he says, now who is above the law? As Chris Whipple, a best-selling author, historian, wrote a book about chiefs of staff, he talked about the moral clarity of Joe Biden when he insisted he would not pardon Hunter Biden. And now look how stupid they look. And another biographer, Evan Osnos, of Joe Biden, talked about his old school sense of duty and doesn't abuse his power. How dumb do all these people look right now?
But Brian, it's not just that. It is the party that talks about privilege all the time and favors and how we need equity. Do you think anybody else would have gotten this type of shake out there if they went to I just don't understand a person so concerned about his legacy. How does he want this to be the legacy, or is he bruised by the Democratic Party because they forced him out and he just doesn't care? Right. He just wants to protect him and his family.
The law is the law. He's allowed to pardon.
Of course he is.
This. You might not agree with it, but you can do it. And Donald Trump might do it for, someone that he's close with, and, the Republicans can't say anything about it. He's allowed to do this. I think what I'm hearing on the network constantly, yesterday at least, is they're upset that he lied. Why didn't he just say, I'm going to pardon my son?
Or I don't know.
We knew he was
I don't know yet.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't made a decision about that.
But how many times do we hear Joe Biden say, when asked about different things with the Department of Justice and the Attorney General, he said, you know what? That's an independent agency. I'm not going to meddle in it. Well, he just meddled in it, and that is why David Weiss is saying, oh, Joe Biden says that this was selective prosecution. It absolutely was not. And then he went through everything. Now it technically is up to those two judges, one in California, one in Delaware, whether or not they do dismiss the case. If the President of the United States issues a pardon, usually it's just a rubber stamp, boom, boom. But technically, it's still up to the judge.
What do y'all think about them blaming raw politics? KJP blamed.
Well, we don't know exactly what she
But
said.
why not blame him? I mean, he committed these crimes. He didn't pay his taxes, more than $1 million. He lied on a gun form. Why would it be politics?
Well,
he
that's
actually did these crimes.
He's never experienced accountability. This family is a mess. I mean, they allow, him to sleep around with his brother's dead wife, not take care of his children. I mean, it's an entire mess that the president and the first lady has allowed him to get away with. I mean, this was only the cherry on top. He's never had to deal with accountability.
Is that because he lost his mom tragically?
There's
Now he lost his brother.
you know what? Maybe, but there's a lot of people in America that have to deal with loss and grief and addiction.
Right.
They don't have the president to rescue them, though. And I just think this is just a sad example for the country. Yes, stand with the people with addiction problems, but everyone with addiction problem doesn't display that type of behavior.
Donald Trump is just like saying, look, this is what I've been telling you. The Justice Department's been weaponized to take action against me. You mocked me and said, hey, we'll do our debate on Wednesday. That's your day off on the trial. Maybe we'll do it then. Trump's like, yeah, I'll debate you on a Wednesday, and he lost his career while he waited. That's why Kash Patel, many people feel his candidacy and his nomination been fortified, because now he's going to go in there, the FBI and these investigations, and he's going to fix it. Oh, you have a problem with that? Because Joe Biden just says he had a problem.
But that's the deal, though, Brian. So I had that talking point yesterday. I go, okay, finally, the Democrats and Republicans agree on this issue. But then when KJP was asked about it, she made it seem like it was just a Hunter Biden situation.
You know what she said?
So only one situation that the Department of Justice has been unfair, and it's just Hunter Biden. No other case.
Allow me to portray what KJP said yesterday on Air Force One. She said, two things can be true. You can believe in the DOJ system, and you can believe that the process was infected politically. And so that is why, Joe Biden saying that's his party line now. Look, those darn Republicans, they came after me. Oh, look, the darn DOJ came after me. It was selective. But as the guy who did the prosecuting, David Weiss said, Mr. President, I know you're my boss, but you're wrong.
Are you hearing anything behind the scenes about KJP's reaction to... She was the one who was told, say, I'm not going to pardon. I'm not going to pardon.
Nope.
I would think she would be upset. Some of y'all have said she should have resigned when she found out he did.
On principle.
But she just passes along the president's message.
Well,
she doesn't know if he's going to go back on his word.
Well, ultimately, she asks him, that's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, as the mouthpiece for the president, what is your official position on this, this, and this? And he tells her, or they put it in the binder, and then she repeats it. But the way she's been asked through history, and Joe Biden has been asked, and everybody's been asked, it was always an emphatic no, but not going to pardon, not going to pardon. And then they lied.
Here's the malpractice part. The NBC report said that he had always intended on doing it. So she kept the same talking point yesterday after the report was released and says, oh, no, he came up with this over the weekend. But there's another report contradicting and saying this was always the plan. They were just working on the messaging.
They also said the border was secure until everyone found out it wasn't.
Not only is he not a victim, we have the FBI was told you can't interview Hunter leading up to the election. We know the FBI held the laptop. We also know the IRS whistleblowers came out and we were told not to really investigate Hunter Biden. So he got all the money, and the family, not Joe, but the money ripples down to the grandchildren, and it stays. And he doesn't get to pay taxes on it, but yet he feels as though it's been weaponized because he's the son of a president. He's got away with it because he's the son of a president.
Well, he got away with it